Bombshell news just dropped across the NBA world, and if you're a Golden State fan, you might want to sit down for this one because the ground is shifting fast, and the Warriors are right in the middle of the storm. Over the last 48 hours, league insiders, front office whispers, and subtle comments from inside the organization have ignited one of the biggest trade conversations the franchise has faced in years. This isn't noise. This isn't social media nonsense. Something real is happening behind closed doors with the Golden State Warriors, and the ripple effects could reshape the team's future sooner than anyone expected. The Warriors are at a crossroads, and for the first time in the Steve Kerr era, that crossroads feels genuinely uncomfortable. On one side, there's loyalty, championship DNA, and belief in internal growth. On the other side, there's urgency, age, cap pressure, and a Western Conference that has absolutely no patience for nostalgia. This is not the same NBA that rewarded patience 5 years ago. This league eats hesitation alive. Let's start with the part nobody in the Bay Area wanted to talk about at the beginning of the season. The Warriors are no longer feared the way they once were. Respected? Yes. Dangerous on any given night? Absolutely. But feared? Not in the same way. Opposing teams no longer walk into Chase Center bracing for an inevitable avalanche. They walk in believing they can win. That shift matters, and the front office knows it. Behind the scenes, conversations began quietly weeks ago. They didn't start with a blockbuster name. They started with one simple question that every contender eventually has to ask itself. Are we good enough as currently constructed to truly compete for a championship, not make the playoffs, not win a round, compete for a title? The answer to that question determines everything. The early internal answer was cautious optimism. But cautious optimism doesn't survive film sessions, defensive breakdowns, late-game stagnation, and the brutal math of the Western Conference standings. The more tape they watched, the more the doubts crept in. The more the doubts grew, the louder the phones started ringing, and then the leaks began. Multiple league sources have confirmed that Golden State is no longer just listening to offers. They are actively exploring scenarios. That alone is explosive. For years, the Warriors were the team other franchises called, knowing full well nothing serious would happen. Now, the dynamic has changed. The Warriors are calling back, asking follow-ups, requesting names. That's how you know something is real. At the center of all of this is one name that has become both a symbol of hope and a source of frustration. Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga's situation perfectly captures the tension inside this organization. On paper, he is exactly what the Warriors need for the future. Athletic, explosive, strong, capable of defending multiple positions, young enough to bridge the gap between eras. But basketball isn't played on paper, and development doesn't follow a straight line. Kuminga has had moments that scream future star, followed by stretches that leave coaches pulling their hair out. The hardest truth for Golden State is this: they don't have time to wait for eventually. The championship window built around Stephen Curry is no longer wide open. It's narrow, it's fragile, and every season that passes without a real run feels heavier than the last. That's where Steve Kerr comes in. When Steve Kerr spoke to the media recently, his words were measured, calm, and professional. But if you know Kerr, if you followed him closely over the years, you could hear the subtext. He talked about balance, about decisions being hard, about weighing present success against future potential. Coaches don't say those things casually. Those are the words of someone deeply involved in serious discussions. Kerr has always been loyal to his players, sometimes to a fault. He believes in systems, trust, and chemistry more than most coaches in the league. But he's also a competitor. He knows exactly what a championship-level roster looks like, because he's coached one. And right now, this roster is flirting with that level, rather than fully living in it. The internal debate is intense. Some voices inside the organization believe Kuminga should be untouchable, that moving him would be a short-sighted panic move. Others believe his value may never be higher than it is right now, and that waiting could be the real mistake. This isn't about whether Kuminga is talented. Everyone agrees he is. This is about timelines, fit, and pressure. Several teams have shown interest in Kuminga specifically because of his upside. Young teams see him as a foundational piece. Contenders see him as a high-energy asset who could thrive in a simpler role. That interest gives Golden State leverage, but leverage only matters if you're willing to pull the trigger. And here's where things get really interesting. One league executive reportedly described the Warriors' mindset as, "If not now, then when?" That sentence alone explains everything. The Warriors know what happens to teams that wait too long. We've seen it across the league. By the time they act, the window is already closed. Steve Kerr's reaction behind the scenes has been described as conflicted, but pragmatic. He values Kuminga. He likes what he brings defensively and athletically. But Kerr is also brutally honest about what wins in the playoffs: spacing, decision-making, consistency, trust. Those things are non-negotiable when every possession matters. There have been games where Kuminga looked unstoppable attacking the rim, and others where he disappeared entirely. In a playoff series, that volatility is dangerous. Kerr knows it. The front office knows it. Opposing scouts definitely know it. This is why the phrase "big move coming" keeps surfacing around the team. It's not hype, it's preparation. When organizations start leaking controlled information, it's often to test reactions. Fans, media, even players. It's a temperature check before a storm. The locker room feels it too. Veteran players understand the business better than anyone. They know when things feel different, when conversations shift, when uncertainty creeps in. That doesn't mean panic, but it does mean focus. Every game, every practice, every moment suddenly feels like an audition. For Kuminga, this moment could define his career. Either he becomes a core Warrior for the next decade, or he becomes the centerpiece of a trade that alters the league. Both outcomes are massive. Both come with pressure most players never experience at such a young age. The Warriors' front office is also navigating the financial reality of the NBA. The new CBA has changed the game. Luxury tax penalties are harsher. Flexibility is limited. You can't simply stack talent anymore without consequences. Every contract matters. Every decision echoes for years.